So a consultant is being appointed to advise us on the viability of the project. So the highlighted phrase is being appointed. A consultant is being appointed to advise us on the viability of the project. Our options are appointed, has been appointing, will be appointed, to be appointed. So can we quickly take a look at the given phrase and understand why that is incorrect? Remember, again, being appointed, part of the perfect tense, which means I either have to have has, in this case because it's a singular subject, has or had, right? So both are not there. So obviously the given phrase is incorrect. So we understand that. So coming back, so this is our highlighted phrase, right? So a consultant appointed to advise. So what is missing here? Helping verb. Be form is missing here. Ruled out. 2. A consultant has been. We already know that when we have has been, we need verb 3, not the ing form. So this is also ruled out. Option 3. A consultant will be appointed. Okay, so it forms the correct construction, sentence construction in terms of completing the meaning in the future tense, right? To advise us, blah, blah, blah. A consultant to be appointed, again, the be form is missing, is missing. So obviously our answer is option 3. Any questions on this? Why not option 4? Is missing. The meaning of the sentence is giving, okay? So some of you are saying has plus been plus ing is present continuous form. Why can't we use that? But in the context, a consultant, what is the meaning that the context is giving? This person is probably being taken into the company, right? Appointed meaning he has to start work from this date, right? The purpose is to advise us on the viability of the project. So when you say has been appointing, that doesn't make sense, right? It's not a continuous action. The action is completed. He has been appointed over. The action of appointing was for only a short period. The action is complete. So obviously I need a past tense, right? Which the present tense form brings in. And of course it's in the passive form, like Sandhya very rightly pointed, right? Passive construction, we know it takes up the present perfect tense. So I don't need an ing form in the context. So this person is appointed for the reason to do what? The intention is coming. 2 plus verb. Here it's an infinitive, right? 2 plus verb which brings in the intention or meaning. Why was this person, consultant, appointed? To advise us on the viability of the project. Yeah, makes sense? See, if I have to use fourth option, I need to change the entire construction. To be appointed, I'm just changing the construction to help you understand the context. To be appointed as a consultant, you need to clear the initial screening test. I came up with a random example, right? So to be appointed as a consultant, you need to clear the initial screening test. Now in this context, I don't need a be form. But when it's coming in the middle of the sentence, I can't say a consultant to be appointed. That doesn't make sense. The be form is missing, which is in this context because it's a singular subject. Singular verb is. You can say a consultant is being appointed. So this person is going through the process of appointment. That makes sense, but not is being. So let's move on to the next one. So in phrase substitution, if you notice, right, usually at least looking at these 5 questions, we've come to an understanding that you have to have a good amount of good amount of knowledge in terms of sentence construction, whether it is the passive form or certain rules pertaining to tenses, right? Mostly the questions, at least the doubts that you guys had was revolving around sentence construction in the passive form as well as tenses, right? So that is something that you need to brush upon, right? This is, of course, in the future, right? Would, again, in the context only is a past tense form of will, but in the context, right, it's talking about if there was a condition required. Remember, modals always express mood or condition. So ideally, just to bring in the difference between will and would, I would say would is in a context he would be able to achieve something or he would do something if there was a precondition required, but will not necessarily needs a precondition. So this is more a statement. It's more like an information, right? He would come to me if he knew where to find me, right? So always when, in terms of just understanding the meaning of the context, would always has a condition attached to it, in the sense, again, bringing in the meaning of past tense. Like I said, would is like how could is the past tense of can, would is the past tense of will. Just so you understand the meaning. Look up a couple of sentences with will and would, and you will have a clearer understanding. The meaning the construction gives is this: he would be appointed for a condition in the past if he knew something. On the other hand, will is more of a statement or an information, right? Both are used to express desire or intent, will and would, or a wish. Yeah. We are here at phrase substitution, or otherwise called as sentence improvement. That's the next question type. We've moved there. So I'm sure this was easier compared to jumbled sentences and otherwise. So let's read. In order to look taller, we should use pencil heels instead block heels. The options are instead of, despite, in spite of, neither. So obviously the obvious thing is we're saying use pencil heels in the place of block heels. So this is an easy one. Instead of has to be the answer. Not despite, not in spite of, or neither, which are completely different in meaning. Difference between despite and in spite of. So if you look at it, I think the only difference is the of itself. In spite of, despite. So if I say despite being late, Anu was let off the hook. Let off the hook meaning she was not questioned. She was, so in spite of, same thing. If I say in spite of being late, Anu was let off the hook, right? Same meaning, both of it. Let off the hook is an expression. I don't see any difference. Both bring in the same meaning in a context. Yeah, that's it. We never say despite of. The next one, this move is expected for mitigate the effects of a depleting water by making use of surface canal water. Yeah. So the second one also, you expect something to do something, right? That's the collocation, right? Right. Other collocations with expected is something can be expected of you, but the context is purely the first one, right? You expect something, you expect the move to mitigate the effects of a depleting water by making use of surface or canal. So obviously the answer is option 3. Do you know that dressing properly for an interview can earn you those brownie extra points which will help you get that dream job? So when you read it only, you know where the error is. Option 1 can earn, option 2 will earning, option 3 earned, option 4 well earns, and then no correction required. Yeah. So quickly, even if I go back the logic of, hey, we're talking about a singular subject here. So why not earns? But we have the modal, right? So keep that in mind. Usage of modal in subject verb agreement, right? So if I say Hari does this always, right? Hari singular subject, singular verb does. But if I say Hari should not do this, I obviously know that I'm taking up the plural verb because of the modal should, right? Or let's say singular subject, singular verb, he loves you. But if I add a modal there in between, right? Obviously the verb changes. So this is something that's very basic. I'm sure you know this, right?